What is going on, guys? So welcome to another full video after quite some time. I know I've been away, but today I want to take you guys through some of my favorite features of my Land Cruiser 80 series. My 90s, 1997 basically, Land Cruiser 80 series, one of my favorite vehicles in the whole world. I'm taking you through 5 of my favorite things with this classic Toyota vehicle. And number one is actually the ruggedness of this vehicle, the fact that it's really squarish. It's got, the rear tire nicely fixed with some good old metal. It's a very boxy vehicle. There's nothing quite like a Land Cruiser 80 series on the road, if I'm honest. And that's what attracts me to this vehicle, the fact that this vehicle does pull in more eyes than I get with any of my other vehicles. It's unique. You don't see many of them on the road. And the styling is my definite number one feature of this vehicle. It beats all other 4x4s on styling because it's got such a presence, so squarish. Love the look of the 80 series with the big sort of squarish headlights. It looks like a truck. It's not to be mistaken for a passenger vehicle or anything. It's a twin axle solid vehicle, and it certainly looks the part. All right, the second thing I love, and what I'm just going to show you right now, is the fact that they used better parts back in the day. When they were making these vehicles, Toyota was using better parts, more metal instead of plastic, more glass instead of plastic. And one example of that is the headlights. If you look here, the headlights, this is a glass headlight, which you don't see these days, which you saw a lot in the 1990s. What's the benefit of a glass headlight? You're not going to get that nasty oxidation that you sometimes get on plastic headlights, the kind of the yellowing and whatnot. Glass headlight, none of those issues. So this is one example of the strong parts. Second example is right here. You've got a metal front bumper. These days, everything fiberglass, you hit it somewhere and it just cracks or bends. This is solid metal front bumper. Just gotta love it. And this sort of follows through a lot in the vehicle. A lot of the parts are just very strong, very rugged. Number 3, I would say, guys, would have to do with this engine. We have, of course, got the 4.5 liter 24 valve 1FZ FE. And this is a 4.5 liter inline 6-cylinder. You don't have a V6 or a V8, you have a simple straight 6, which sounds amazing. And it's a petrol motor, but it gets decent fuel economy, but it's got great torque, it's got great power, and best of all, it sounds great. This is the true tractor motor. There's no other thing to say about it. It's durable, extremely durable, and it'll just keep going with good maintenance. I mean, this particular motor, I've of course flushed it, cleaned up the top half of it, and of course fresh fluids and whatnot. But this is the kind of motor that keeps going, the kind of motor that was built for the rugged terrain of Africa. And I've grown to absolutely love this motor. All right, guys, now you join me in the back seat of the 80 series, and on to number 4. My fourth favorite thing with this vehicle has to do, of course, with the interior, and I'm going to show you that right now. It's kind of a classic interior, but it's very strong. Everything was kind of purpose-built. It's got a grab handle on the passenger side. It gives off a very vintage vibe, something that I've grown to love a lot more as I grow older. It's just something about older vehicles that I really gravitate towards, I really love. So check this out. And my last factor, guys, is the fact that I can fit the wheels I want without any modifications and with bare minimum differences to how the vehicle drives. This is the kind of vehicle, it has 2 axles. That's actually my fifth favorite thing, is the fact that this was the last Land Cruiser model to have twin axles, an axle in the front and an axle in the rear. We know now most of the Land Cruisers that you see now, they have the independent front suspension in the front, and then they retain the live axle in the rear, whereas the Land Cruiser 80 series had the axle in the front and the rear. The only car that's still doing that today is maybe the Suzuki Jimny, which is a tiny vehicle, but this vehicle is extremely rugged. When you have a axle in the front and the rear, you know, it gives you that extra confidence on the road. A live axle is extremely rugged, and that is our live axle. A live axle is not as prone to break as an independent front suspension, especially in those real ruts or off-road stuff that you would go on. So my fifth thing about this vehicle is, of course, the ruggedness, which comes from the fact that they used 2 axles. You know, they built this thing purpose built to go anywhere, take you anywhere. And a lot of the stuff in the engine bay also is more mechanical rather than electronic. You still retain a distributor. You don't have a sort of cam position sensor or anything like that. The distributor just distributes the spark through the ignition wires, and it's, you know, more of a mechanical system, more of a simpler system, whereas today's modern cars kind of got more automatic systems and more wires and more electronics. So all right guys, so it's a scorching hot day here in Nairobi. I'm absolutely boiling, but we're back, and I want to take you through the 6th thing that I love so much with this vehicle, and that has to do with the drivability, the way this vehicle feels on the road, which I just want to take you through right now. I'm gonna put this transmission into drive. This is a vehicle that feels very different on the road. It feels very grounded, very, very grounded. There's no other way to explain it except for it's very solid. It doesn't feel, I don't know how I would compare it, but if any of you in Kenya or other markets have driven a Land Cruiser Prado, maybe a Land Cruiser Prado or 120 series or a 150 series, coming from those kind of vehicles, you realize the biggest disadvantage of the Prado is actually it's not stable on the road. It's too much of a tall vehicle, and it doesn't have the stability, whereas the 80, it feels wide, it feels fat on the road. You know, it feels like a tank. Even when you're going on big ruts, you don't feel like you're gonna flip the vehicle, whereas you could feel in those Land Cruiser Prados. So a lot of good drivability is what this vehicle offers. That's been it, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I know it's been a while, but I'll catch you in the next few episodes as I get some more car content out. Bunch of stuff been going on, and that's why I've been all over the place with business and life, but want to take out some more car content. So if you guys are enjoying, make sure you hit like, subscribe, comment down below, let me know what you think. It's been another episode with my Land Cruiser 80 series, and yeah, rounded up the six perfect reasons why I love this vehicle so much, basically, and why I gravitate towards it so much, even though I own a Land Cruiser 100 series. This is just a different character is what the 80 series is. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.